That's what I said. Let's get you coffee. Can you believe it's St. Patrick's Day? How about that? St. Patrick's Day. It's a day that I'm going to be busy, where I'm actually going to be installing the window and hopefully the AC unit today too. So Jim Bear 925, thanks for joining. Basin, thank you. Everybody getting up early this morning and out and about. Love it. Geikel, MFG. I like that. I tell you, I was sitting here this morning, got through feeding the dogs and had turned the news on, and MFG, dude. Elcoma. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Just letting everybody jump on and get their coffee going. Hey, Kim, how you doing? Gonna see Shannon Russell later this morning. They're coming. Russell's gonna come help me install a window, and hopefully we'll slide that AC unit in place too. So move some electrical stuff around and get things wrapped up so that it'll be time to move into the new spot. Fixing stuff all day. Hey man, good morning. How are you doing? Braden, thank you. I appreciate that, Braden. Thank you for the. We're going to be moving, so once I move, and I'm hoping that if everything goes like I want, I'll be able to go live from the new spot on this coming Monday. So we'll see. Thanks for the follow, Braden. I appreciate that. Yeah, Guy, that's correct. I'm in. This is like half of the garage. Wife's car is parked on the other side. And the only reason I'm moving out to my shop is because to air condition the garage, I would have had to put in a mini split system, and it was going to be about $8,000 between buying the system, having it installed, and having some electrical work done to carry it, to carry that unit. So it just made a lot more sense to move it to the shop, and I probably had to work on the shop a couple of weeks, and but a whole lot less. Good morning, Chris. It is half the garage. It's the whole half of the garage. But the good thing is too, because the garage has a water softener in there, and sometimes that water softener cycling can really be annoying. Dragon, what up? Breath manual or automatic? Manual or automatic? You get spoiled to having automatic transmissions, but I learned to drive on a manual, and I can still drive a manual transmission. I don't have a problem with that. There are certain instances where a manual transmissions, if you're on a real steep hill or something, can be a pain in the butt. You only run manual Mazda? Oh, I love Mazdas. I would like to, if I could, I had a Mazda pickup that I really enjoyed for just a little lightweight running around town. And if they still made them and sold them in the United States, I'd probably buy one. Because the one I had, I probably drove it, I don't know. I had a swimming pool business, so I drove it for several years. I bought it new back in the 80s for like $4,000, and it was a stripped down version, but had the rubber floor mats, had an air conditioning and a radio, and that's really all I needed. Ain't that right, Chris? If as long as you got an AC and a radio, you're good to go. It can be standard or automatic, but I mean, used to standards supposedly got a little better gas mileage than automatic transmissions, but that's just not the case anymore. Axel Foley, whoopee doo. I like that handle, Axel Foley. I know who that is. Oh, yeah. Here's my question. Are there any Irishmen on the call today? On the show, yeah. So my last name's Dunnigan, so I do have some Irish in me. I don't know. I think anymore. Most all of us probably have some Irish. A few alternators and other than that, a good car. Yeah, alternators come and go. But I like Mazda cars. My granddaughter has a CX-5. She really likes it. My daughter's been driving Mazdas for a long time. Like I said, I was really bummed out when Mazda decided to stop selling their little truck in the United States. Of course, they kind of followed the pattern that Ford took, is they kept raising the price and raising the price. And, I just think they priced themselves out of a market. I don't know why we don't see a small truck come back into place that's affordable. And when I say affordable, I mean under $20,000 easy. I think a small base pickup by Mazda or Ford or Chevy, and one that's, dependable, 15,000 should be the max. And they shouldn't offer all the bells and whistles on it. It should just be a basic truck, basic transportation. So many people would be a lot better off with basic transportation than having to go out here and pay these exorbitant prices for somebody else's wore out junk. And I can't tell you how many times I've seen people struggling financially. I used to be one and couldn't afford to buy a new car. And, even the one that cost $4,000, I couldn't even afford that. And so you end up stuck driving junk, breaks down at the most inconvenient time. You're sitting on the side of the road. I'll tell you a story about when I was really young. I had a Ford Fairlane, 64 Ford Fairlane. And it probably had 100 million miles on it. It had more rust on it than it did paint. And I think I bought it for a couple $100. And it ran really, really well. I mean, it didn't have any shocks, it kind of rocked back and forth. Wasn't the smoothest ride. And it was, I don't know, banana yellow. It was ugly. My wife said it was ugly. She never would ride in it. What does this say more? I can't even live without AC. I can even live without AC. I have to have a heater. Yeah, it depends on what part of the country you're in. I can live without a AC too. I drove vehicles that didn't have air conditioners for a long time. 2 windows at 55 or 60 or 65. I mean, it's, there's times it's really hot, but when it's cold, you need a heater. Heaters are definitely a safety feature too, especially if it's snow and ice. You can't really drive a vehicle without heat in it to keep all of that off your windshield so it's clear. But anyway, back to the 64 Ford Fairlane. I worked at that time, I was working construction, running a 6-yard front end loader, basically just, loading trucks all day, running heavy equipment. And I think it was probably 15 or 20 miles from where I lived. And that Ford did really good as long as it wasn't raining. If it started to rain, I don't know what it is. I never could fix the issue. I tried and tried and tried. Those vehicles had distributors and distributor caps, and you know, if you got any kind of moisture, that car would be going down the road and it would die. And when it died, it would not start. As soon as it dried up and wasn't raining anymore and the moisture cleared up some, start on a dime. And it stranded me one night. And this was before pagers and cell phones and all, you know. Somebody got stranded out on the side of the road. They were really in, you know, unless somebody actually, that was when people would actually stop and, you know, give you a ride or, you know, check to make sure you were okay. And yeah, so it was wintertime and it got dark, you know, what, 5:30 or 6. I think I got off. It was around 5:30 or so. And I was, and a storm blew in and it started raining cats and dogs. Couldn't see 2 inches in front of your face. And I made it about a mile from, or maybe a little further. I was out on the highway trying to get home in that rainstorm. And that 64 Ford Fairlane, it died. And so I pull off side of the road and I cannot get it started again. And so I'm stranded, and where I was working was kind of remote. So there wasn't a business I could walk to or anything. And when I tell you the bottom fell out of it, it rained like 3 or 4 inches that night. And so I didn't have a choice but to get out of the car and start walking. So I did. And finally, after, I don't know, I'd maybe walked a half an hour, maybe an hour, I don't know. It was a while. And a guy in a pickup finally stopped, but he wouldn't let me get in the truck. So I got in back of the truck and I told him, you know, where I lived. And luckily he was going in that direction. He just couldn't take me the whole way. So push come to shove, I had a wife and my daughter was a little baby at the time. And I didn't get home till like 9:30 at night. And of course she was just panicked and I was soaking wet, but it was either 2 or 3 rides I had to get home that night. And, you know, the next day I had her take me back to work. We pulled up next to that 64 Ford. The sun was shining. I got in it and started right up and went right to work. It wasn't long after that before I finally just got tired of messing with that old Ford Fairlane, and I got rid of it. But yeah, so my wife was mad that night when she was glad to see me that I got home, but then she was mad and she had to, I had to have her take me back the next morning so that she could see the car really did break down and it was on the side of the road. So yeah. Let's see here. Let's see what's going on here. I see a bunch of conversation. Hey, everybody. If you're new here, let us know where you're from. Thank you for joining us this morning. Coffee Talk Live with Dave, and I'm Dave. It is March the 17th, St. Patty's Day. So I hope you got something green on. Because I'm here by myself, so nobody's going to pinch me until I can get some green on. It was too early in the morning to look for something green. Anyway, if you're out and about, put your little green ribbon on or something if you celebrate St. Patty's Day. Timmy in town want it because yeah, exactly. So yeah. How about that? Inline 6, 235. Yeah, rule by Saturn. You are absolutely correct. 100 million miles. Yeah. Graded cars are valuable. Yeah. Scrapers do suck. Yeah, they do. So yeah. Anyway, so like I said, it's St. Patrick's Day, and that was just a story there. The old hippie joined. Hey man, how's up? What's up? So like I said, if you're new here and you haven't subscribed yet or followed, it's free and would be a wonderful thing if you did that. We're trying to get to 10K. Let's see. The war in Iran is still on and raging. Looks like our gas prices are going to continue to rise. But, you know, I saw it yesterday. I've seen it a couple of times, and it just really sets me off. Hey, Jason, good morning. Thanks. And what sets me off is that we have elected officials, our Congress, that are arguing and fighting over whatever they're arguing and fighting about. And we have our TSA agents and other federal law enforcement. But our TSA agents, those are the guys that keep you safe when you fly, so that you don't have to worry that some nut got on the plane and is going to take you out of the sky. And they're not getting paid. Do you realize that in this is the second time recently where they've been expected to come to work, deal with millions of people traveling, which just their job in general can be very difficult and stressful. And they want them to come to work, be on time, do their job, be focused, but they can't pay them, or they're not paying them. Now, they will get their back pay eventually, but unfortunately, you don't get to tell the mortgage company, you know what, not getting paid right now, but I'll catch you on the backside. As soon as I get caught up and they pay me, I'll pay you. That's not how it works. I mean, that's not how any job should work. You should never we should not have one single federal employee not get paid because the Congress is arguing and fighting, except for the Congress. They shouldn't get paid. We should cut off all of their pay, and all the money that we pay them, we should be paying our TSA agents. That's where the money should go. But you don't see one of them step up and pull $100 bill out and go to the airport and give them some money. These guys are having to go to food banks to feed their families. I'm surprised that they've lost 300 of them so far. 300 of them said, I just can't take it anymore. I quit. And yet we got our congressmen sitting in Congress on their hands like 2-year-olds fighting back and forth because they can't pull their head out of their ass for 5 minutes and do the right thing. I am so pissed at that. I have a friend that's a TSA agent. He hasn't been paid in 6 weeks. But he's supposed to have a jolly freaking attitude when he gets up and goes to work every day. And he's having to get food out of a food bank to feed his family. He's, got threats on, he could lose a car because he can't make the car payment on it. It affects his credit. Yeah. How would you like to be in that situation? What do y'all think that you should do? I mean, I think everybody should be raising holy hell about that. Engaging Besties, thanks for the follow, man. I appreciate that. Eric Logan just joined. Anyway, that was my rant for today. I don't know what y'all think about it, but I just think it's BS. And I think if they want to fight, fine. We don't pay any of them. We take all the money that we would pay them, and we pay the TSA agents, because those congressmen are not, you don't see them checking baggage and making sure that you're safe when you get on to go see grandma or fly home to see your mother or, whatever, go on spring break. What was it? I think they showed in the Austin airport here, TSA processed over 100,000 people yesterday, and they're not getting paid. And, not only does it affect, this time it affects them. The time before, it was our air traffic controllers. How about that? How about don't pay them either? I don't know what we can do, but we need to get we need to get that stopped. And if you know somebody who's a TSA agent, and you can help them out, by all means, I think we should definitely do something for them. And like I said, it doesn't matter that they are, being helped, most of them, I guess, to feed their families, but it doesn't pay their bills. And it just should never, ever get to that where they don't get paid. We need to put something in place that if Congress is going to fight like 3-year-olds out by the playground and the swings, that it doesn't affect somebody getting paid. Or our military, they try that stupid game too sometimes. Any of our essential government employees that we need, need to be working, should never, ever be subject to not getting paid. Yeah, how about that? Saw a clip from the AOC saying that we had to make sure the public suffered. People would vote for Democrats. It's dumb. I wouldn't vote for a Democrat, Republican, or a dog if you treated me like that. It's crazy. I missed the rant. Damn, sorry. Well, I'm sorry. I was ranting about the TSA agents and air traffic controllers not being paid because Congress is fighting like a bunch of 3-year-olds out on the playground. And I mean, here's the stupid part. They had we have a flaming libtard that's in Congress. How he ever got there, I do not know. And he's arguing. He pulls up because one of the Republican congressmen is taking food to the TSA guys to feed them lunch, which is nice on one hand, and I know he's running for re-election, so it's just a ploy. So I kind of think it's BS too. But they're standing outside the airport arguing about whose fault it is and why the Republicans shouldn't be taking hamburgers to them. They should pass a bill that they're fighting over with the Democrats, and the Democrats are like, no, it's your fault. No, it's your fault. I mean, they both look like asses, my opinion. Sorry for the language, but it just smokes my wagon to see that our government treats their employees like that because they can't pull their head out of their ass and get the job done. That's why I say clean house, start over, revamp how we pay them, revamp how many times that they get to pull this stupid stuff, and put them on the same kind of behavior. If we have to reprimand them 3 times, they're out. And if they don't do their job, they're out. Just like it would happen to you. That's how real jobs work. Yet, nope, we don't hold them to that standard. Okay, moving on. So now I hope everybody got to term limits. Absolutely. 350%. But you know what? That's never going to happen. And you know why? Because the people in Congress and the government has got it set up where we don't get to do anything but vote. That's it. That's the only thing you can do. So if you're not voting, shame on you, because there's a lot of people who died to give you the right to go vote. One of my granddaughters said something. She turned 18. I said, you need to go vote. Oh, I don't really feel like it. I'm like, you don't feel like it? We don't do that in this house. We vote every time because I know somebody's son or daughter is gone so that I could vote. So get off your damn hands and go vote. And if you don't vote, shut up. That's my rant. Okay, moving on. We're going to do show and tell, something a little more positive. You know, I just don't think they just don't teach. I don't know why kids, and it's not just kids. I mean, I see adults tell me all the time, oh, no, I don't go vote. That's a pain in the butt. I don't want to have to do that. I'm tired. Huh. What about the guy laying in the mud with someone shooting at him, bombs and or, you know, laying in the desert somewhere. What about that guy? Think he was tired? And you won't get off your dead ass to go vote? I got no empathy for you if you don't vote. You don't vote, shut up. Because that's the only way we get people out of office is we vote them out. That's it. But you know, all those law changes and stuff like term limits and all that other stuff, there's not enough of us that ever get behind somebody who says, hey, we need term limits. We need to put this into place. You know what? If everybody had an uprising and complained and took it all over social media, something would happen, but nobody ever does. It's always a handful of people, and it's not enough to make a real difference. So nothing changes. And that's how it is, and that's how it will continue to be, and that's how people in politics want it to be, because they really don't want you to be able to change things. They don't want you to be able to hold them accountable for their actions. Yeah, they just don't. That's my opinion. Anyway, time for show and tell. And you know why we do show and tell? Before we do show and tell, if you're here and you're new, or you're not new and you haven't liked, shared, and subscribed, or liked, shared, and followed, if you're on the TikTok side, if you've not joined the fan club, please do that. Gifts, super chats, all that stuff's still fun. Today is a great day because I got a phone call last night. My buddy's coming from Waco, and we are going to move some electrical outlets around out in the shop so that we can install a window and then the AC unit. So if everything goes smooth today, I will be able to, you know, have all of that done, up and running. And then, like I said, I'll be able to move the office out there over the weekend and maybe actually go live from there next Monday. So that's the goal. Hey, Ed, good morning. I'm kind of glad Ed wasn't on because I said a couple of bad words, and you know, I don't like to do that, but sometimes it just, who was that? He used to come on and say, just matter in hell, and I can't take it anymore. So anyway, okay. So like I said, if you haven't liked, shared, or followed, please do that. Thank you, all my YouTube guys. We got 14 people on today so far, so that's great. Hey, share with your friends and family. Make sure you invite them to come join us because we do have fun, and I don't always rant and rave. This is what I'm gonna start calling this the show and tell portion of the live. And the reason I do this, if you haven't ever heard, these are things that I need to do because they help generate a small commission or to, you know, help keep the channel going. And so hopefully if you see something you like, you know, I've probably done a video on it. And if you go check out that video, you'll see a link to where you could purchase it. If you can't find it, send me an email and I'll send you a link. It's an affiliate link, and the channel gets a small commission if it's something that you do. So what I wanted to show, one of the first items is this. And a lot of people are like, what is that? And why would I want it? Well, if you're a woodworker, you would want one of these. This is called a vacuum, an automatic vacuum switch. And what it does, I have most woodworkers have a miter saw, a router, some piece of equipment that they use a lot to cut wood with, and it produces sawdust. So you can plug your tool in the bottom plug, and you can plug your dust control, which when I say dust control, we're talking about a shop vac, and there's another piece that you can hook it up that's kind of like a separator, puts all the sawdust in there. And it doesn't get every bit of the sawdust that's generated by the tool, but it gets a big portion of it, keeping it from fogging in the air. And by limiting how much is in the air, it limits how much is in your lungs. You probably should, for safety purposes, wear a mask every time, but you know and I know if you're working on a project, you don't always think to put your mask on, if you have one at all. You know, so if you don't, these are pretty handy because you can plug, like I said, your tool into one, your dust collection into the other, and then when you pull the trigger on the tool to make a cut, it automatically turns the dust collection system on, so that it's immediately taking care of the sawdust. And then when you let go of the trigger, the dust collection runs an additional 3 to 10 seconds so that it clears out all the sawdust, keeps the shop cleaner and keeps your lungs healthier. So anyway, that's what these are. And I think every woodworker should check them out. I've made a couple of videos with the links. I got this one off the TikTok shop. There are other places that you can follow the links from. So anyway, that's where I got this one. It's a good deal. And then, you know, we talked about screwdrivers the other day, and it seemed like I had and all of it was when I was going through the shop and having to move stuff around and take stuff down to insulate it. And Mistress of the Universe, have a good St. Patrick's Day. Thank you. And I know I'm back and forth between shops, and I realize I don't have anything but a bunch of just old random screwdrivers. And so I picked up this set here, and check it out. And this is similar to another set I'll show you here in a second, but it comes with all your standard Phillips and flat blades. You have your precision in case you have to, if you work on computers or whatever, or your glasses or something real fine. You've got your small precision tools. Then you have a set of nut drivers here on the bottom. Half of them are metric, the other half are standard SAE. And then you have all these additional bits are across the bottom, and there's a tool for that too. Let's see which one it is. And then here's the main thing. So you see how organized it is? It comes in a stand. So if you don't have room in your toolbox, you can just set this on your workbench, and they just, you know, slide out. They got a nice rubber grip, and then right back into place. And the thing I really like about this for the family, if I tell my wife or my granddaughter, hey, go get me a flat blade, they can go and they can tell by the mark on the end of that that's a flat blade screwdriver. Even if they don't know what a flat blade screwdriver is, you could send someone totally oblivious to tools, and they would probably. I like having that on the workbench. It does have slots in the back, so if you did have a space, you could mount it on a wall to secure it. Anyway, that's pretty handy. And then, if you like to travel, if you have to travel and go places, or you just like to have your screwdriver set, this is basically the same type of set. Comes with magnetized screwdrivers, same rubber style handle, except that it comes in a hard case instead of a display. You can see that it's in a hard case. And I got this on the TikTok shop too. I'm working on trying to get some stuff from YouTube, but I hadn't got that yet. I have made a video on this, but I just wanted to show you real quick. Pretty nice set. Look at all that. And easy to keep organized because they all have their spots where it clips in, and it's stamped inside the case. Gives a description of the tool. So again, you could send somebody out, they could open this case up and bring you the correct thing. And I'm holding on to this because this could be our next giveaway. I haven't quite decided. I have one other item coming. So you never know. This might be just be keeping it in mind. You see, I'm keeping it all in one piece. I'm not using it, so it could be a giveaway item. Let's see, a couple more items real quick. If you have a motorcycle or lawn tractor and you want to extend the life of your battery, because you use it and maybe it snows and it's like crazy weather, it's green, you need to mow your grass one weekend, the next weekend you got 3 foot of snow on it. Check out the Battery Tender Plus. You can attach it to your battery, leave it connected. You'll never get on your tractor or motorcycle with a dead battery again, because it keeps things going. And that's just one more thing that you will see a link. If you're on YouTube, they change the live into a full version video. So if there's any part of this you miss, you can go back and listen to it as you're driving down the road to grandma's house. And hopefully it won't put you to sleep. You'll maybe catch a version where I'm ranting and raving about something. And then I'm just kind of zipping through some of this stuff. We talked about my favorite tape measures. I still say Milwaukee makes the best. I had somebody argue me the fact that they think Stanley's Fat Max is better. This is an older one, but this is a 25 foot. It has a LED light on it. I like that. So if it's dark for some reason and you need a little extra light, you got that. It has a magnetic tip on it. I like that. It's, beefy built. If you drop it, it's not going to break into 2 pieces. It's got the finger stop on the bottom, and you can read the big blind numbers on both sides of the tape. And then here's the Fat Max. It has big numbers, so you can read that. Has no finger stop, only the traditional, and there's no numbers on the back. No magnetic tip and no LED light. So the winner is the Milwaukee. You can also get it in just a little lighter version. It's the 16 foot, still has a finger stop, numbers on both sides, no magnetic tip and no LED light, but just a little bit cheaper. But these are very good and worth every penny that you would pay for these tape measures. They'll last you a very long time. And then the very last thing I want to show you today, it's also a Milwaukee tool. And these things are super handy, and they're not very expensive. And this is a ratcheting screwdriver. And if you've never used one, I've used a lot of different ones, and the cheaper versions, the ratchets break on them. They're not very good. But this one is probably, I've got 2 of these. One somebody gave me at Christmas time. And then 2, Milwaukee sent me one to review at some point. And I want to tell you, for a ratcheting screwdriver, this is handy. And it's a tool that you can put in your toolbox. It doesn't take up a lot of space, and it gives you a lot of versatility, because you can see the end of that. Those are all extra bits that slide down in there. And then you can see how they, and I'll show it here, but it's the Milwaukee ratcheting screwdriver. And this one doesn't break the bank, but man, these are phenomenal. So if you get a chance, you get out there, get one of those. I will put a link to this on the live YouTube video. And I did have one other thing. I meant to show this to you yesterday, and maybe I did. And this is also a TikTok item. Not the only place you can get it, but it is a TikTok item. Is these little turbo fans. Everybody's seen these. If you've watched any TikTok videos, you've seen these. And I got one that I did a review on, and the reason is, and here's what it looks like, and you're like, well, why would you get that? Well, I'll tell you why I get that. Because several things. If you have a wood shop, you could use this to keep stuff, blown off your work table. You can use it for, sweeping the floor even. It's that powerful. But really, the reason I got it was to keep all of my electronic equipment dust free. You can clean your keyboards. You know, some people, being in technology, I've seen over time, have a tendency, especially people who work from home or working sitting in front of a computer, inevitably they eat their lunch and all the crumbs end up on the keyboard. Now tell me you haven't seen that before. Even in an office setting, you'll see that. And so you can just pull this little, there's a little button here you pull, and you can see the little blue lights on, and you can see the blue lights on. And then there is a slide trigger on the side. And I kind of wish this design was a little different, but it's not, and it works. And it's really good. You can adjust the flow of air, so if you don't need a lot, you can do that. But it's great for cleaning the dust bunnies out of your computer at home, your laptop, your desktop, keeping your keyboard clean, and then you can use it for other stuff. And just to show you that it does have plenty of power and it will blow the hair off your head, check this out. No hair. I didn't mean to use it like that. This didn't do that to me. It just fell out naturally, but it's pretty funny, and I'll be here all week. So I wanted to show you that. There you go. That's the end of show and tell today. I hope you liked it. Just doing the show and tell should generate at least 25 or 30 new followers. Hit the hearts if you thought that was fun. Brains World, Dave's Hot Chicken. Brains World, thanks for joining. Hey, man. Hey, Casey, what's up, man? I'm 10 foot wide and you like big tires. I love the show and tell. All right, well, that's good. So, you know, it's St. Patrick's Day. Does anybody do anything special for St. Patrick's Day? Nothing? Nobody does anything for St. Patrick's Day? You know, we really don't either. I'm just asking because some people really do. I mean, it's St. Patrick's Day is a big deal for them. I always thought St. Patrick's Day was, you know, kind of a fun day at work, and you know, we'd always do something different. Have some green Jello at lunch, or that kind of stuff. But anyway, yeah. Patrick joined. Hey, I'm driving to Augusta, Georgia. Augusta, Georgia. Weren't you? Where were you? Where are you coming from? Weren't you down around Houston, Casey? John Roberts, 2444. Thanks, man. Watching from Ireland. Look, guys, we got somebody on YouTube from Ireland. That's wonderful. So, John, tell me, what do y'all do to celebrate St. Patrick's Day there? Do you drink? You know, when I was younger, quite a bit younger, the deal was the nightclubs on St. Patrick's Day would have green beer. You know, why we thought that was cool, I don't know, but sometimes we'd have a cool one and maybe play around a pool or something. Anyway, I just thought that was one thing. Happy St. Patrick's Day, John Roberts, to everyone. Thank you, John, for joining us all the way from Ireland. Shout out. John John Nugent, 2950 is from Ireland. I'm sorry. Wrong, John, but I'm glad everybody's here. Y'all just keep jumping in. Up to 17 watchers there on YouTube. Thank you. Thank you. Got my faithful TikTok peeps on. I love it. Yeah, so today we're going to, like I said, we're going to install the window, move some electrical, hopefully get it wrapped up today where I can install that AC unit. And then, you know, I can do the trim out and all of that can be done at a later date. But if I get those main things done today, it'll be great. It's only, it was kind of cold outside this morning, but I think it's supposed to warm up to about 68 degrees a day. So it won't be hot, but it won't be real cold. Yesterday was a bit colder. I know the Northeast has been having some real crazy weather too. Sometimes we'll watch The Quiet Man. Yeah, yeah. I like to have a Guinness for sure. Great. That is a great movie, Ed. I like that too. Augusta, Georgia. If you're, I don't know how many people have ever been to Georgia, but that's a pretty state to drive through. I've been up around Atlanta and outside of Atlanta, and there's some really pretty stuff there. John Roberts, I drink a lot of Mountain. John Roberts says he drinks a lot of Mountain Dew. It's kind of greenish yellow, yeah. And then you got I don't know. I sniped somebody. I think it says, I don't know. It's 28 in South Carolina this morning. That's cold. Woo. Jeffrey Albertson, GA, good morning. There you go. GA, I'm guessing that's Georgia. Good. Thank you for joining us this morning. Kelly, so check this out. Wait a minute, what's Kelly saying? Where'd you go, Kelly? Oh, there you go. Check this out. My daughter's birthday this month. Has a cool day. That's great. That's good. I'm glad your daughter's birthday is on a cool day. Is it today, Kelly? We're supposed to get up to 80 in Wyoming this week. Yeah, that's what they were saying is this was what was so freaky about the weather. Sunday, it was 80, mid to upper 80s. And then that cold front blew through. And yesterday it was cold all day. I think the low got down to like 34, 35. And it stayed pretty cold, pretty cool all day. I went out and walked and actually had to have a jacket on the whole time. So the sun did come out, but it was a little windy and it was cold. And then, like I said, they said I think the high today is going to be 68, but tomorrow and the rest of the week, it's back to summertime weather, mid 80s, low 90s. The humidity comes back. So I've kind of enjoyed a little break with the colder weather, but the warmth is coming back. The bad thing is it warms up for a week or two, and your trees start to bloom. The wife wants to get out, and she's got her tomato plant. She's ready to get the garden fired up, and she's planted a few things, and I had to have her stop because I knew we had a freeze coming. And so you have to move all that stuff in, move it all out, move it all back in. So that can be a real pain. But hopefully now that I'm thinking this is probably the last little cold snap we're going to have, and we'll be able to put all our plants back outside and then get the tomato plants in their final resting place so that they start. I mean, we bought them and they were about, I don't know, 2 or 3 inches tall. And you can buy bigger ones, but I think Home Depot wanted like $20 for one. I'm like, no, we're not paying $20 for a tomato plant. So I think I bought them for the seedling. They call them seedlings for like $1.25 a piece from HEB. And they've already doubled and tripled in size, and we hadn't even planted them where they're going. Everybody plants their garden differently. We don't have the space to actually have a full-blown garden, so I can tell you can grow a lot of fruit and vegetables in 5-gallon Home Depot buckets. Lots. Potatoes, tomatoes, peppers, okra, cucumbers. And you'd be surprised how many, and the buckets last from year to year, and so that's usually what we do. We grow all ours in buckets, and then that way in the wintertime you can just move the buckets out of the way and out of sight, and then bring them out for the spring and refresh them and go to it. So if you think you don't or can't have a tomato plant or whatever vegetable you like, get you a 5-gallon bucket from Home Depot or any big box, or a no name, just a plastic plastic bucket. Drill you a few holes in the bottom and go to it. You'll be going. We're praying winter is finally over in Chicago. Enough is enough. I know Chicago and Illinois and that East Coast, man, they really have winter. We don't really have winter here in Texas, at least not where I'm at. Now, where Chris is in the Panhandle, they have a little more winter weather than Central Texas and South Texas do. And, even further south from here, they even have less. So, yeah, 80 in Wyoming, though, that's pretty good. She'll be 26th on the 26th of 26. Yeah, what do they call that? That's a special birthday. And that's the daughter that's also a teacher, too. Isn't that right, Kelly? I have issues with breaking them, working on typewriters. Really? So Jeffrey Albertson is asking if I had a recommendation for a flathead screwdriver bit kit. Wow. If you're breaking them, I don't know. Maybe, since you're using a screwdriver bits, I think that might be part of the problem. And, maybe you should try just using a full handled screwdriver. I don't know exactly whatever you're doing on a typewriter that would actually snap the bits. That's tough. So John Nugent, 2950 from Ireland, says he lives down the road from Trump Golf Course in Dunbeg, there in Ireland. Wow. 26. John Roberts, we need a lot of snow because oh yeah. It's been really dry too here. We haven't had much rain at all. And when it gets like that, like it has been the last couple of days, we've been under a fire watch, but mainly because it's dry and the winds are, this last little cold front, we had wind gusts up to 50 miles an hour. So there were certain places where pretty steadily we were getting 15 to 25 mile an hour winds. And so that makes it even worse. And, Chris can tell you, and I don't know if they have to deal with it every year, but they dealt with it this year, where they get those grass fires going, that wind's blowing, it's dry, man, it can wreak havoc. And, you have to move livestock. It can take people's houses down. So that dry weather and high wind is definitely a huge fire hazard. Yeah, right. Sure. Thomas, all the way from Denmark, thank you for joining us. Yeah, and so see, Chris is saying apparently it's every year. Yeah, that's the problem we have here too, Ed. A lot of times when you're doing a garden, and I love it, and tomatoes and all that other fun stuff. Casey's in it. He just rolled into Alabama, so he must be listening to the show and driving. We had 70-mile-an-hour winds here last week. Wow. Yeah, 70-mile-an-hour winds. You want to stay inside when it's like that. We've had a wet winter. It's better, but the wind every spring. Yeah, in West Texas, that wind gets to going, and even if you've had some rain, it dries thing out. It dries things out really quick. And if you get a grass fire going, man, it can get out of control before they can get on top of it. And I mean, I know there's other areas of the country where we have that too. So, you know, they had one down around Bastrop a few years back, and I mean, it burned a lot of houses down. I think it took them nearly 2 weeks to get that fire under control, and it did some major damage. And it's hard to recover from stuff like that. But like here, when we plant gardens, Ed, we have to do it like now, because by August it's so hot you can't keep them alive. Pretty much everything dies off in August, and then you're done. And I know other parts of the country do really well. A lot of times, and you know, I can only base this off what I've seen up in the Pacific Northwest. But when my niece lived there, man, she had stuff in her garden, you know, different things, but she had stuff that she could grow there that we would struggle to grow here. And like in the colder months, she had a lot of lettuce that she grew. She could grow strawberries there just prolifically and not hardly have to do anything. Try to grow strawberries here, and it's a whole different story. And I love fresh strawberries. And it's not that you can't. People do grow strawberries, but the growing season's much shorter. So anyway, there you go. Let me see. What else did there was something. You got to hear me rant and rave about the TSA guys. So, hey, if you want to pray for somebody, pray for those TSA guys, and that our Congress gets their head out of their hiney and gets things straightened out, so those guys don't have to go to a food bank to feed their family and or come to work and not get paid. I think a lot of them feel like they're in between a rock and a hard spot. I mean, they can't quit their job because they need their job, yet they're not getting paid because the Congress can't seem to quit arguing with each other and be productive. It's always like, you know, somebody pointing fingers. Oh, it's your fault. No, it's not. It's your fault. Drives me nuts. I don't know why they do that. Anyway, wished it didn't happen that way, but it does. And I need a drink, coffee. Casey's like 480 miles, 7.5 hours to go to make his delivery. Hey, Casey, hope the weather's good. Stay safe out there on the road, because, you know, Casey did get to spend 9 days at home and catch up with his wife and spend some time with her, cleaned his shop, got things nice and organized. And that was always fun. And it's always fun when you're out on the road, gone for 3 or 4 weeks, to come home. Because that saying, there's no place like home, it's true. There's no place like home. Even if you're a couple of hours from home, there's no place like your home. And I like to go places and stuff, but I'm always ready when it's time to come home. Don't miss out on the road life. Yeah, you know, I don't know. I spent 12 years. I would get up, well, on Sunday after church, I would be packing my bags, and I'd have to leave on Sunday before supper, and I'd be gone until Friday. I'd usually get home 6, 7 o'clock at night on a Friday. And I did that for a long time. And I personally, you know, that's what I had to do or that's what I was doing to make a living, to support my family. But I think my family really suffered. My daughter was young. And I know, you know, you do what you got to do to make a living. But sometimes our choices like that are not really good on the family life. And I didn't realize how many things I missed out on, you know, working and traveling and being on the road like that. I made good money, but I was gone all the time. And I can tell you, luckily, I got a second chance with my granddaughters, and I've admitted I think I was a much better grandfather than father, and just because you're more financially secure, and so all of the things that I missed being on the road when my daughter was young, I tried to make up with my granddaughters. Can't make it up to my daughter, but I have admitted to her that unfortunately in life sometimes parents have to do things that take them away from family time, and it's not always the best decision, but at the time I thought it was, because that's what I had to do to keep a roof and groceries on the table and that kind of stuff. But I can see how that can be really detrimental to your kids and stuff. So if you don't have to do that, I hope you don't do it. And if you do have to do that, maybe you have to work extra hard when you're at home to spend time with your kids. So there you go. The alternative to our representative republic is worse than the dysfunction of it. I agree, Ed. I'm with you. It's really frustrating because I think that slight changes and that group could do great things, and yet we just can't, we just can't get people, we can't get them to understand it. Or they say, well, if you vote somebody out and send somebody new in and they try to do things differently, they have great ideas at first, and then they realize they can't get anything done because it's like a tit for tat. You have to do this, you have to, play ball, or we're not ever going to vote anything you want through. And that's not the way it should be. It shouldn't be like that. And it's, I just think if there were some changes where if they knew it was like any other job, if you don't do your job, you'll be gone and looking for one, and we'll replace you. I don't know. It's really frustrating when all you see is them fighting like little kids on the playground, and they're adults, and they should be doing things and quit worrying about this party or that party, or why don't you do something for the general public, the taxpayer, the people who pay your salary, the people who put you in office? Do something that's good for the general public instead of trying to fatten your own wallet and, fatten your own head, make yourself important, make you think you're self-important, and you're really not. Because I always tell everybody, if you think you're important, can you part water? If you can't, you're not that important. Only the person who can part water, and we all know who that is. So, morning, God. Good morning, everybody. Hey, how you doing? So, that's kind of what I was thinking about and visiting on today. I do have a company coming. Like I said, we're going to hopefully get that shop done when Moses parted the Red Sea. Yeah. Amen, Dave. Roberts, pray for the politicians. Yeah, for sure. Pray for the TSA guys and their families that are struggling because our Congress can't do the right thing. I don't know. It's like I said, if we're going to cut people or not pay anybody, the very first people that shouldn't get paid is everybody in Congress. Just stop their paychecks and take all that money and pay TSA, make sure the military gets paid, make sure all the essential employees are getting paid. If it affects anybody other than that, if they shut the government down, that's not fun either, because that affects a lot of other people too. So anyway, there you go. That's my vote there. Just to let everybody know and kind of keep you up to date, you hear me keep harping and telling everybody, like, share, follow, all of that's great. I'm still trying to get to the 10K mark, and it's moving. The needle's moving that way every day. And so, your continued support and, the fact that you're out sharing the lives with other people, and you're watching the videos, and all of those things make a huge difference. And we're going to get to that 10K. And, if we get, when we get to the 10K, I don't know if bells and whistles and all that will go off, but I think it's just one of those things where in social media and affiliate marketing, that's just kind of part of the deal. You want to grow your base, because then you get like, I'll be honest with you, and I've kind of been doing this in the background. I've been sending out a lot of different requests for sponsorships. I'd like to get someone sponsor the show, because I do the show and tell, and so I think some of these product manufacturers are getting a lot of exposure on the show, and they're not, they furnish a product, which I'm very grateful, because without that we couldn't promote it. But just go back to Super Clean. We talked about Super Clean for weeks, and then we had a giveaway, and they're a great company, and I love them, but they don't do sponsorships. And there's companies out there that do sponsorships, and I just haven't found the right one yet. And a lot of it is some feedback I'm getting is that we're just not big enough yet, but we're getting there. It's going the positive direction, and we're in it for the long haul, and I think everybody here is in it for the long haul too. And without your continued support and coming back every morning and listening to me rant and rave sometime and do other things, it wouldn't be moving forward. So thank you, everybody who takes time out of their day to come join us every morning, because without you and without your engagement, this just doesn't work. That's the only thing. And that's the thing that people don't really realize. I think a lot of times they think the person that's presenting the live is the one that's, making things go, but that's just not true. It's the audience. It's the people who engage and ask questions and, share their personal, whatever beliefs, their lives, what's going on, topics that they feel like they're passionate about or want to talk about. So if you ever have anything that you want to discuss during the show, or any ideas, definitely send me an email, daveshop2@gmail.com. And we'll sure take a look at it. And if it's something that we can discuss, we'll discuss it. And in the discussion, I'll always bring up whose idea it was, and it just gives more credence to the show, and that you as a guest count, and what you want to talk about is what we're going to talk about. Because I have people ask me all the time, well, what do you talk about? And I'm like, well, I don't know. It's different every day. It's like, to me, I keep going back to, when my dad was alive, and my grandparents too. And, and I guess women did too, just in a different way. But, a lot of men would start their day early, and they would all meet at the local cafe or gathering spot or coffee shop. It was usually a cafe when I was a kid. And, you'd see them sitting around tables, and they would, be talking about the day and visiting, and, their wives, their kids, things that were current events that were going on. And that's how they started their day. And that's kind of what I look at this like. This is how I start my day. This is how a lot of y'all start your day. You go on after the show's over. You do, you all have jobs. You may be retired, but you probably have other stuff I'm sure you're doing. And you take this amount of time out of your day to join us here and engage and do all of that stuff. And, Without all of that, this just wouldn't be possible. So thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. It's 7-Eleven. I really do have some other stuff I kind of got to get going. Thank you, everybody. If one last time, if you're new here and this is your first time here and maybe you just joined, think about like, share, subscribe. We're trying to get to 10K. We're here weekdays, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. And usually we go to 7:30, sometimes 7:45 or so, depending on where the topic goes, and how many people and what they want to talk about. So today's Tuesday, March the 17th. It's St. Patrick's Day, so maybe put on maybe put on a green ribbon or something, so you don't. As a kid, the big deal was if you didn't wear green, somebody would pinch you. Yeah, get you a lucky clover. Oh man, that. Thank you. I appreciate that. Anything green. I always tell people my granddaughter was on her way out to work when I came out here and she pinched me on the back of the arm. I was like, what was that for? And then I realized it was St. Patrick's Day. And she goes, where is your green? I said, well, I have green underwear on. And she didn't believe me. But anyway, so if you have green on, make sure you display it today. It's St. Patrick's Day. I hope you have a wonderful day. See you back here in the morning. Thank you for all your support. Go do something kind today. Do like Chris says. Treat everybody better than they deserve. Y'all all have a great day, and I'll be back here first thing in the morning at 6 a.m. Thank you for joining me. Go check out my videos. Question of the day coming later today. And do have a great day, and I'll be back in the morning. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate you.